Hey,
Hi
how
there.
you doing?
I'm well. How are you today?
Wonderful. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me
Okay,
okay?
ma'am.
So, can you hear me okay?
I can. I can. You
Good,
sound
good.
great. You
Happy
sound.
Friday.
Yeah, I'm so glad it's Friday too. Isn't it?
Uh,
What isn't that how that restaurant got that name? Thank God it's
It's
Friday.
Friday, yeah. Yeah, so we have some thank God it's Friday going on today. It's been a beautiful day here in the neighborhood. Of course, I walked this morning. That's what I do to start my day. Yay. I had a great walk this morning, and I tell you, I am loving the fresh air. It was cool this morning, and I was loving my walk, because every day I say do something for your health. I posted, take care of your body because it's the only place we have to live in, right? So,
Right?
so we have to make sure that we're doing that. What about you?
I did some walking and some lifting and a whole bunch of walking.
Good for you.
And so, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real good.
Feeling real
Um,
good.
it's a great day, a great hour to be
Yes.
around. Hey, you know what? I want to divert a little bit. Um, how unfortunate that we had to experience the slap heard around the world.
Oh, no, 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 no. We're not doing that. It was unfortunate, but and I'll say that I hope that works. They're able to work through that.
We pray so, right? We pray
Yes,
so.
absolutely, absolutely, and it's important because mistakes happen, and hopefully, they can work through that.
Yep, we pray so. My main concern is the careers, how it's going to affect. So just folks out there, just not only pray for a career, I mean, that's important, but pray for his marriage, pray for his manhood. And there's a lot of different things that I want to touch on concerning that. But that's not our topic today. What's our topic? Our topic is dealing with real estate, saving your legacy, saving your house. And we have a special guest. His name is Sheldon Hill. And he's actually going to be popping in. Let me see if I could just get him in here for us. There we go, Mr. Hill.
Hey, how you doing today? How
I'm
you all
doing great, doing great.
doing?
Welcome to our show,
Thank you
Mr.
so
Hill.
much for having me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I think this topic today is such a needed topic, especially in the pandemic when, the pandemic happened and people were starting to be laid off from jobs. And, so I'm sure that people were facing all types of financial adversities. And so having someone like you to come on and talk about your topic today, I think is very, very important because, we go through those steps of preparing for a mortgage, obtaining that mortgage. We are excited about our home ownership, and then adversity starts to happen. And we know that it can happen to anybody. It doesn't exclude, one particular person because life happens. And it's how we deal with life happening that helps set us up for success. So I'm definitely excited to have you come on the show and talk with us. So anyone who's out there, please log on, send us your questions while we have our special guest who can answer questions while we're on the show. Anthony?
Yeah, hey, look, I just want to uh, step back a little bit. Let me back up. All right, my name is Anthony Murray, and I'm with World System Builder, World Financial Group. I am a independent contractor, and I have an office in Rankin, the city of Rankin, called Rankin Financial Center. Rankin Financial Center. And there I do a whole bunch of stuff. but mainly helping folks. What I don't do is mortgages. I don't deal with mortgages. I don't help people with mortgages. All right, but we have an expert here that can help you save your house. I hope you paid attention to what Ronetta said, because this is very, very serious. What I want you guys to do is to contact everybody you could think of that is a homeowner or desires to be a homeowner. And let me tell you why. Because as things calm down, as people are trying to get back in the swing of things, there's a lot of folks losing their homes right now. And we want to help you find out how not to lose that house that you worked so hard to get. So with that said, Mr. Hill, I hope you got some time.
I do. I appreciate you all inviting me. I really do. Because as you say, this is a very important topic. And it's not just, if I may say, it's not just about buying a home. It's about creating a legacy. That's so important. And right now, from the last numbers, we were at a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and ironically, they were talking about the disparity in terms of us versus them, meaning African Americans, minorities, and them. So the numbers were 75% them, 24% us.
All right. Let me stop right there.
Yes.
So them being white folks, and us being black folks. Hey, look, we are very candid here. So it's all right, because this show is designed to reach out to people of color. We pull no punches about it. We are straightforward about it. Our intentions are honest. We want to educate the African American, the black folk, the colored people, the Negroes. What other names did we have through the years? I'm not going to use the derogatory names, but awesome. Yeah. So go right ahead, sir.
So what's really the main issue, I feel? One is, as you mentioned, education is a huge key. Our thought is pay off your mortgage as soon as possible. And I'm just going to speak candid since you said that. I think the problem is we're more into the flash and those kind of things, opposed to building a legacy and creating stuff that we can pass along to generation upon generation. And the way that starts is with owning a home. So with that being said, one of the things we highly recommend, banks and wealthy people put stuff in a trust. We put stuff in our name. Now, why is that such a disparity? The reason why that's such a disparity is because anytime you have anything in our name, you create a situation where that particular property can be taken away.
Oh, no. All right.
Absolutely. So we say create a trust, because once you put that trust in another entity, you no longer, and I don't want to say this too loosely, but you no longer own it, you control it. And the difference between owning it opposed to controlling it, you actually it's in your control. It's still yours. It's just you're not setting yourself up for, if you will, the liabilities that you would if it was in your name. So that's a very important key.
So by definition, trust is what exactly? So it's just is it like a company, or is it like
it depends on how you structure it. There's several ways to structure it. You could put it in your name. Like I know of people, they put stuff in their name, but it says trust. So that creates another entity, because in a trust, they can't just take it away from you. Not only that, it'll save you. So did I answer your question? I don't know if I answered.
No, I think yes,
Yeah,
you
it's
did.
another entity.
Because it's like a living, is it like a living trust? So you have
Well,
beneficiaries attached to it, or is it just
absolutely.
yes?
So
Okay.
there's the trustor, then there's the executor.
Okay.
Why is that so important? Because a lot of us and the put stuff in our name, and then it goes into what's called probate. It goes into courts, and when it
Right.
goes into courts, it could be taken from us because there's attorney fees, trustee fees, court costs, whatever else they want to assess you. I've seen so many properties being lost just because they were structured wrong. And what they do then is they tie that property up in court and eat up the asset. I know
All
people.
right.
Yeah,
I
by
know
paying everyone else. Yes.
exactly. I know people that have lost anywhere from 7 to 8 to 10 properties that were free and clear. And I'm going to share a real small story with you. I'm not going to get into too much detail. There was a gentleman, we're dealing with him now. This just happened recently. He called us last week. What happened is he had a gentleman knock on his door. And when he knocked on his door, the gentleman said, "Yes, can I help you?" The homeowner was like, "Can I help you?" He said, "I did some work for your company. I mean, for you as an individual." And he's like, "What?" And he was like, "No, sir, I didn't have you do anything." And then the guy says to him, "Well, we put a lien on your property." Went to court, hired an attorney, paid him like 10 grand. He wanted to go ahead and file fraudulent charges against the guy. The guy claimed that there was other people, 2 other guys that lent him the money to invest into this project. Then what happened was the judge says to him, "Well, it's going to cost you $65,000. He's like, "65,000? What are you talking about?" He said, "Because there's 2 other people on this particular project. And the guy said, "They're out of the country." And he was like, "What?" He was like, "So we got to get them back in the country, but it may take up to a year." He's like, "No, I don't want to go ahead and pay you guys $65,000. So the attorney then tells him that he tells him, "Go ahead and set up an agreement with this gentleman." He signed an agreement to pay this guy to resolve the issue. He's been paying him since 2016. He's been paid him almost $20,000.
So it's some type of a scam, in other words.
Yes, sir. And that's just one. I could go into many different stories, but that's just one. So it's just, but the court says, well, ignorance is no excuse. Oh, and I failed to mention this too. So the guy had been paying him. This guy turned around and sold the debt to someone else. He added additional 10,000. So now the debt is up to 75,000. So I'm saying all this to say, you got to know how to structure yourself so these things don't happen. If it was in a trust, that would have never happened. Point blank period, because you can't attach it like you would if it's in your name. That's the reason why I'm bringing this point up, because when you have it in a trust, it's another entity.
I got it.
So they can't attach it to one entity.
Okay.
Right.
So that's just one story.
Okay. All right.
So tell me, what is the specialty of Foreclosure International Group? What is your specialty? That's one scenario, but what else?
Well, our specialty is we specialize in doing loss mitigation work. People are going through different things. We have 31 years expertise in this field. So we know a lot of different ways to talk to banks. We speak on the same level. So when you hire a company like ours, you're getting the expertise of being able to have someone that has the insight and knowledge. Like we had a lady not too long ago She was facing an eviction. This is on an apartment. And they gave her 3 days to move out. She contacted us. We talked to the management team and the attorneys. We were able to keep her in her home, her
Awesome.
family.
Awesome.
So that's just one example. The other thing is we also do refinancing. We can help restructure debt. We do business lines of credit for people that may own a business, but they need a bridge to put a roof on their house, or it could be a personal loan, for their business, pay their employees, especially with the time we're living in now. We've seen only less than 1% because the moratorium just ended in November. So we haven't even hit the precipice of what's going to happen here in the next year. I mean, economists are saying nationwide, over 1 million people are going to be affected by foreclosures or evictions just because they didn't understand or know what to do. Very important.
Okay, so let's start with tell us, what is a foreclosure? What does that mean?
Great question. So typically a foreclosure occurs when you fall behind in your mortgage. And sometimes it could take, maybe 60, 90 days to, either attempt to work something out. But if you go past 60 or 90 days, they're going to hire an attorney. Okay. And the attorney is then going to send you a notice saying, we're scheduling your house to be sold on this particular day. And then what happens is, if you don't work something out with your bank, and that's, by the way, that's when we come in. We negotiate that with the attorneys, banks, you name it, and we're able to help them stay in their home or work something out. Even we noticed this too over the years, and just sometimes forestalling that sale, meaning stopping the sale. That will want them to come back and work something out, because now it's in a position, well, hey, we weren't able to execute on your sale. Now we want to work this out with you. It sounds crazy because you're thinking initially, well, why didn't you attempt to work with me in the first place? And then there's other ways to help them move forward with restructuring the debt. Most people need time that are facing those type of issues.
I heard you mention a few things, a couple of words, mitigation being one. Are you an attorney, or do you have a team of attorneys that work with your group? Tell us a little bit about your credentials.
Great question. So one, like I said, we've been in this business 31 years. We have a lot of insight, knowledge, and know-how. We have attorneys that work with us, but as a financial consultant company like we are, you don't necessarily need an attorney. There's what's called a authorization. The client signs between us and the client. That gives us the power. It's almost like a power of attorney, if you will, to negotiate with the bank or financial institution to work that out. So, and once you send that into the banks, they understand what's going on, and they give you the authority to acquiesce between them and the client. So that's typically how it works.
So is there a difference in mortgages? Like, for example, if you have a HUD or an FHA or a VA loan, would the foreclosure processes be different, and the types of negotiation, would that be different with the bank based on the type of mortgage a person has?
Great question. It could be. It just depends on the loan itself. Every loan and every situation is really different. I've never seen two just alike, even though they both may be VA or FHA. Usually, sometimes there could be flexibility in terms of them wanting to restructure it, but for the most part, they all work the same, if you will.
Okay.
But there's a lot of, if you would say, a lot of different things that go in negotiating. We do research, title work. We look at a lot of different things. There may have been something that they did wrong in terms of the way they transferred. And the other thing I want to educate people on is banks. Most people think when you think of a bank and a mortgage, you think they own the mortgage. That is not true or correct. Banks, this country's been bankrupt since the 1920s. There's no money to give. No money to give. So they know that, and we know that. All banks, all they are servicers of the note. They basically push paper. Mm-hmm. So they know that. So when you kind of disarm them, it's a whole different ball game in terms of how to handle them. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Absolutely. Hey, we have a question for you.
Yes,
from Pamela, and she said, "Good afternoon. Can a property owner put in their will that property has to stay in the family bloodline forever and never sold?" Yeah, I know you're not an attorney, but is that something that you have ever run across in your dealings, as far as someone wanting to put the house in the will or in the trust? Because we were talking about trust earlier.
Right. Well, there's two different things. A will is something where multiple people are involved in that. With a trust, so to answer your question, we don't recommend you to put it in a will. The reason why I'm saying that, again, it's names associated with that. Mm-hmm. So anytime there's names associated with that, more than likely that's going into probate. Once person passed on or what have you. In a trust situation, maybe I didn't explain this. In a trust situation, there's already a designated person that automatically, there's a trustee, trustor. Then there's what's under there. There's what's called an executor.
Executor, right.
Right, Ms. Anthony. So when that person dies or something happens, that person automatically moves up. No courts, no trustee, no attorneys, no nothing. So that saves you tremendous headache, hassle, time, and money.
Yeah. And you really don't want to put that in a will, because, wills are good to have, all right, if that's the best you can do. But, man, people can contest that thing. They could, unfortunately, the good scam artists, they'll put an ad in the paper, all right? And then they'll come back and say, hey, I had this ad in the paper for so and so and so, and that's the property, and they left it to me. And I'm telling you, you can lose lots and lots of money. So wills are good, but they are contestable. That's very important. You have to understand that. Those of you that are into wills, understand that you definitely want to consider and take the advantage of getting a trust. They're safer. Now, let me put out a disclaimer. I am not an attorney. Let me say that. I am not an attorney. Right. I have studied law, but I am not an attorney. All right. Now, with that said, I strongly suggest a trust, because it takes away that leverage from scammers.
Absolutely.
And schemers. It takes that away. So this is some very powerful information. I hope you folks are taking notes, especially those of you that are homeowners. Listen, you need to know about this stuff. Protect your legacy. Protect your family. This is something that Black folks have an issue with. Every time we talk about a will or a trust, or we talk about life insurance, I'm not dying yet. You don't know when you're going to die. So don't say something that's stupid.
Preparation is key. Preparation is key.
Preparation is key. Preparation. So you guys been around for 30 or 33 years?
31 years.
31 years. Yes, all right. So I know you run into all types of scenarios.
We need about 10 of these shows to to explain all the stuff we deal with.
What's the most common thing that you guys run into?
Basically, people in the process of losing their home because they fall behind. Of course, we're still in a pandemic, but a huge pandemic where so many people passed, God forbid, and unfortunately. But so basically what we deal with primarily is foreclosures and evictions. But our thing is educate yourself, because you educate yourself, you now you have more of a leverage and an upper hand to figure out, hey, now I know what I need to do. And then get someone with the expertise that has the insight to even help further you in terms of making sure you don't, because it's not even about sometime passing or dying. They could scam you while you're living, and you're
That's
like,
right.
What are some pointers? And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say.
What are some pointers? Yes, go ahead.
Well, some pointers are, one, like we do free phone consultation. We're nationwide. We've been in business 31 years. We help people all over the country, people calling us about all kinds of issues. And there's other things we do too, but I'm not going to get into that so much. But I say education is the key. Empower yourself, because like I said, it's not just about buying a home. It's about creating that legacy for yourself, because we know that's the number one way for our people to start creating wealth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're talking, educating yourself, or you're talking about just understanding the home buying process, understanding what we can afford, because as you said, sometimes, we bite off a little bit more than we can chew and digest, because we want, sometimes we want more than we can actually afford. And, part of, I think, educating ourselves may be understanding what what we can actually afford as far as a mortgage is concerned, and talking about understanding the rates and whether or not you have a fixed rate or an ARM, things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So many people, they get in situations where they can't afford it, and then they end up, and God forbid, things happen in life: death, divorce, sickness, loss of income. So my thing is, and our thought is, pay it off as soon as possible. Because banks are making 2-3 times off of a property that's not worth the face value. If you start paying additional money every time you can't afford it, or if you can, pay payment and a half, pay that thing off, because now you're building equity. Even if the rate is at, like when I started out, when I bought one of my first homes, my rate was at like 24%. Well, yeah. But what I did, and I had a first and a second. But what I started doing is I start paying more on it. And as you pay, no matter what the rate is, if you're paying down that mortgage, it's breaking down that interest coming down, is paying. So, and you're building more equity in the property. So God forbid, if you have a situation where you need to borrow money, that's a cash cow right there. Not that I recommend that. There's other ways to go about doing stuff, but at least now you've created something that's affording you a lifestyle or helping you in case of emergency.
Hey, let me add to that for just a moment. As far as paying down that mortgage, you want to make what is called principal payments. So you pay your regular mortgage payment, then you pay extra against the principal. I was in banking years ago. There's this lady, I believe it was a lady or a guy. It was a lady, a family, just say like that. And they made 2 payments a month. One payment was their regular mortgage payment, and the second payment, equal to the mortgage payment, was against the principal. Correct. They paid that thing off quick and in a hurry.
it definitely, it cuts down on the years. The other thing I was going to add to
Mm-hmm.
that is when you do that, now you've created, like I said, equity in your property. Plus, like you say, you pay it down and you're not faced with, you know, a foreclosure situation
Right.
because now you've put so much into it. So now that buys you time too. But a lot of people don't do that. Everybody just makes a payment, you know, and keeps on doing. Oh, and the other key thing I was going to say, Mr. Murray, is you when you do that, once you do that, you got to tell them to put this towards my principal.
Yeah, you
That's
got to
right.
make that statement.
If you don't,
Right.
Specific. Yeah.
yeah, if you don't do that, they'll just add it on to the payment. You
Uh-huh.
got to tell these folks what you want done.
You've got to. I had a situation
That's a
where
great
I
tip.
forgot to tell them, and they put the money towards the interest or
Right.
just the regular. So I called them up, and because I look at my statement, I say, hey, what happened to my extra principal payment? And they said, you didn't make it. I said, oh, yes, I did.
All right.
And they said, well, they listened. They actually, they record this stuff, right? When you
Correct.
do it over the phone. So they listened to it and they said, no, there is nothing there. So I learned a lesson from that. I said, no problem. It wasn't that much, but still, nevertheless, my goal is to knock down that principal. Say it doesn't matter if you pay $500 against that principal or $25. Just put something against it and make sure you specify extra principal payment. All right. Now, you also have other things built into the mortgage to where something called your escrow.
Mhm.
All right. Or your if your company pays your all companies, mortgage companies usually pay the taxes, but it's optional as far as paying the insurance. All right. My company, they pay my insurance too, right? But you could put money extra towards that. So then when the value of your property go up, it doesn't affect you as much. So there's a lot of different things you could do. Now, you mentioned a lot of key points as far as what you do to help people. But before we get to that question, Pam has a question. Do you recommend community home buyer classes? Our community has several. Pam, maybe you could tell us what classes our community has, because this is critical for, if I could just say it, people, but especially our people of color. We need to get the information, all right? But information has no value until it's applied.
There are a lot of, when you're looking for mortgages, for example, I think we talked about it before, the EOA does a homebuyer class. Habitat for Humanity does a homebuyer class for people in their program. You have some mortgage companies that offer, homebuyer classes a few times a year. And let's see if I can find
When you said EOA, what's EOA abbreviated for?
Economic Opportunity Authority here in Savannah.
Okay, all right. See, I didn't know.
Yeah, and they do, and they have programs. I think the city, maybe connected. The city of Savannah, has programs because, as we talk about this and we talk about what you're saying, helping people in our own communities, yeah, definitely there are programs out there. And, we talk about people understanding, because you really need to understand. And especially because by the time, unfortunately, we get to Mr. Hill and we're in a foreclosure situation, then, we have come probably to what we think is the end of our rope. And, and again, understanding that whole process, and we're glad that a company like yours is here to help people when they get to that point. But
Yeah.
we go back to understanding what this whole process is about, and so Mr. What are some other things that you recommend to prevent and Pam just said the neighborhood improvement associations, and every community has one of those. So that's, a great resource as well. So, Mr. Hill, what are some other things, other pointers you can provide our audience that they can do to avoid?
Well, actually, you're hitting on a key point. We also have other resources, partnerships where we help educate people as well. So we believe that in educating yourself, now you're empowering yourself not to make those same mistakes. And some of the key points are, like I said, paying your mortgage, paying additional on the principal, getting them some. Maybe even if your rate is too high, you mentioned that, Ms. Gardner. When your rate is too high, you're at 25% or 28%, and you can't afford it on your income. You need to look at getting that thing refinanced so you can lower the payments. Now you could get it refinanced and drop the interest, but not necessarily have to borrow money against it either. Right. So now you're dropping the principal. So now more of the money is going towards the principal opposed to the interest. So that's also another thing you can do.
And that's awesome that you said refinance, because sometimes our credit isn't as good, or when we purchase a home, but having a home purchase on your credit, right, and you're paying that off. Well, that starts to improve your credit. And now you're in a position, as you're saying, to refinance at a better rate.
Absolutely.
Now, let me ask you, do you guys provide loans as well?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
All right, folks, you heard it now. All right. So it's like a one-stop shop right here.
Well, absolutely. This is awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the things our mission was, to always add more programs and be able to provide a one-stop shop for our community. And even if we don't, we have partners and groups that we deal with, we network with, and that we're able to help people direct them in the right direction, if you will, and getting what they need. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, one of the things that I provide and our organization provides is financial literacy. So if you are in debt, and you feel, hey man, I just need to get out of debt. I need to learn how money works. I specialize in that. That's one of my specialties, helping people get out of debt, educating people about money. People think they know about money until they're broke. You can make $1 million a year, but if you spend $1.1 million, you're still broke.
Absolutely.
You're
no longer a millionaire when you spend the first dollar.
Hello.
It's kind of ironic. You made me think about something. We had a client. He made over his career almost $60 million. He got foreclosed on. People think it's just the people middle class, upper middle class. These people are making lots of money out here. They mismanage their money. So we educate people, even our clients that have money. This is what you need to do. I know a situation where they had their property was free and clear, but it's a mindset. We try to keep up, and I don't know who they are. They say the Joneses, whoever they are.
Whoever that is, right?
Right. But sometimes we try to keep up this facade. Sometimes you got to come off your ego.
That's right.
No, I need to take care of the basics, and then, build wealth, build legacy for yourself and your family. Then if you want to you have extra money to do things. That's what we need to start doing. I think we have things backwards.
Yeah, we do. We do. As a matter of fact, I just put a PowerPoint together. I want to say just maybe around a week ago, to help people see and understand. And listen, folks, I will give you a free financial checkup. Free financial checkup. You go to the doctor to get a checkup. You go to the dentist. You go to this. but how many people really get a financial checkup? That's what you need to do. Unfortunately, a lot of folks don't. And that's why Mr. Hill is on this show, because there's too many people, especially in the African community, the African American community, that don't understand how money works. And then all of a sudden we're looking for somebody to bail us out when it's 11:59, almost midnight, and and it's unfortunate when it could have been prevented from the get-go. But it's never too late for education. That's the value of it, the value. So I'm going to put Mr. Hill's information back up, and you guys need to screenshot this thing or copy it or take a picture with your camera or do something, because this man is here to help our community. Now, hey, look, maybe you're not in the Black community, all right? Maybe you're Hispanic, maybe you're white, maybe you're Asian. I'm not politically correct, and I don't apologize for that, all right? Whoever you are, he can still help, all right? He doesn't care what color your skin is. No. We have him on this show because we target specifically people of color. Why? Because we have a passion for the African American community, for us folks, for Geechee folks, whatever you want to call us, all right? We have a passion because ignorance is not bliss. It's dangerous.
It is dangerous.
It is dangerous.
So, Mr. Hill, we're talking about foreclosures and how it affects our ability to do other things. How long, tell our audience, how long does a foreclosure remain in your credit file, in your credit report? And are you limited then? Are you ever able to finance a home again? Would they be able to come to your company?
Well,
that's a home again?
That is an awesome question. And my answer, it's twofold, and it's going to sound contradictory in a sense. It definitely hurts you from looking at buying a home again. But what we tell people, because a lot of clients, or some of the clients, I say 50, maybe 60% of our clients are with issues. The other 40% are people just don't know what to do. So our thing is to answer your question. Yeah, it affects your credit tremendously, and it may take you a situation where it could take up to 7 to 10 years to get it off. The other part of that is, does that stop you? No. There's, like, we also provide a service called lease option purchase.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that process?
I am. Please educate us on the
process. So what that is, what that process is about, you can actually get into a home regardless of what your credit is. But the situation is you're looking, instead of putting money towards rent. Like, we had a client, I'll give you an example real quick. We know of a lady, she was in an apartment for 13 years, paying $1,000. Another company came in. So over 13 years, she spent out almost $150,000. That could have been going towards the mortgage. But because nobody had educated on what to do, she ended up, so it was sold to another management company. They upped the rent,
of course,
from $1,000 to $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what's going on now. That's why we're saying it's so important to own opposed to renting. So with the lease option purchase, you can go in and you could say, hey, look, I want to use this money to go towards the mortgage. I want to pay on that. And in companies like ours, we can go in and negotiate that for you with a homeowner. And now they understand, we understand what's going on. They're willing to work something out. So now you got money, instead of just putting it into a rent situation, you have equity built in. So you can now, so even if you have a credit issue, you can now use that as leverage to say, hey, I'm looking towards home ownership while you're building your credit. And so now you have your cake and you eat it too.
All right. Now, years ago,
program. That's awesome.
Years ago on the lease purchase program, not 100% of the monies were placed against that. What about in the program that you're referring to now? Is 100% of the rent?
Well, no, because a portion of it does have to go towards the mortgage, but you're still in a much better position.
A much better position. Absolutely.
So now if you say, hey, I want to buy this house, you've gotten familiar with the owner, he's gotten familiar with you. He may even say, hey, look, I'm going to let you come in and take over the mortgage, or I'll sell it to you at a discount price because you've shown yourself stable enough to pay him, his money over a sufficient period.
Now, so are you guys realtors as well?
It's all about, pardon me, Miss Murray. I was just going to say this final point. It's all about negotiations. We tell people it's all about negotiation, how you negotiate things and how you put yourself in a position to win.
Wow. And that's powerful. That's powerful. So now, are you guys realtors?
We call ourselves, we're really financial consultants.
Okay.
We consult with people about different things when it comes to real estate, mortgage contracting, restructuring your debt, eliminating debt, title work. We do all that kind of stuff to help gain a position, gain our people position in terms of knowledge. But knowledge is one thing, but applied knowledge is where the real true power is.
That's right.
To be able now to put yourself in a position to acquiesce on that transaction and say, this is what I want. You're focused and detailed about what you're doing and where you're going.
Man, this has been awesome. I mean, really, really powerful. We have a few moments left here. Guys, if you have questions, you could send your question over. We would definitely address it. That's why we're here. We're here because you're there. All right. And because you're there, we're going to stay here so we can educate the community. Yes, we push and we advocate educating the African-American community, but we're trusting God that everybody will get a part of this information, because the more people that are informed, it actually helps our community. So this is critical. You guys have several different arms out there helping people. So now let me see. Lease to own. You help people stop the foreclosure. You help people with mortgages as well, or you guys write mortgages?
We help refinance mortgages. So if you got
you help refinance
28%.
So give us a little information. Yeah, about it. So if someone, what would you be looking for if someone wanted to come to your company to refinance?
Yeah, what do they need to bring with them?
Yes.
Great question. We want to see, who you're mortgaged with, what company. We want to see how have you been paying it, if you have stable income, because it's going to take money to pay for it. And just see that, figure out what's best for you and your family. Like I said, not just now, but long term. So we're looking at ways to help you to create that legacy again, not to sound redundant, but that's important, because our passion is we want our people to own, because once you in a situation where you're, especially the time we're living now with pandemic, more people being put out of their homes.
Yeah.
I mean, all kinds of scenarios and situations. So our goal is to help you and even transition you possibly into another place if you can afford it. That's so important too. And another thing we found that is a big problem with the whole foreclosure and eviction thing is people just being put out on the street. Our thing is we can help even forestall it to either work something out or transition into another place. So now you're not just being put out on the street. So many people they come, they serve you the notice. You don't know what to do. They come and put a lock on your door. You and your family are out in the street.
People panic. Wow. Yeah.
And then that leads to drug use, crime, you name it. So many different things.
Wow.
You don't want that.
Well, folks, I'm going to put back Mr. Hill's information because we are running out of time here. This has been extremely, extremely powerful.
Yes,
I hope you guys got something from this. I got a lot out of this. Hey, let me just ask, what documents do they need to bring with them?
Great question. So we need a copy of your driver's license, copy of the payment statement, whether it be a first and a second, from the first and the second. We need, and just having those things, those are the basic things we need just to get the ball rolling. There may be things down the road once we figure out what all you're looking at doing, but those are just basic stuff. So it's not, and it's just something to show you have stable income. So those 4 items.
Well, Mr. Hill, we want to thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Man, you have a powerful organization. We'd like to have you come back sometime. Would that work for you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Absolutely. Good.
Absolutely.
That's great. Hey, listen, folks, if you have questions, here's Mr. Hill's number. Again, you could give him a call. All right. Reach out to him. If you know somebody that's in a precarious situation, they need his services. There's his name, the name of the organization, Foreclosure International Group, 770-256-7881. Make sure you screenshot that, take a picture of it, and make it available to people in our community. Mr. Hill, thank you so much for being with us. It was a pleasure having you.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you so much. You have delivered invaluable information.
Can I just add one more point? And yes, we're nationwide. We're not just in one state. We're on all the states. So
awesome.
That is great. That is great.
National. I thought I heard you mention that before. National organization. Well, guys, hey, listen, our time is up. We want to thank you for being with us today. My name is Anthony Murray.
I'm Ronetta Gardner.
We're missing a couple of our co-hosts. They're Tanya is out of town, and Flo she's here, but she's in the listening mode. All right. And so we want you to do something. We want you to just tell people about this show. Let them know. They could go on Facebook and press that little button called like. I mean, multiple times, right? We want to get this thing out. We want to get this word out. This show will be aired again. I don't know which day. Usually it's on Sunday, right, Netta?
Yes, it's usually on Sundays.
Usually on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So this is extremely, extremely valuable. I want to put something else up. If y'all don't know, Premier Health Sourcing, Ronetta Gardner. I don't know if y'all know who that is. Who that?
You are funny. Thank you so much for adding that information. What I do. Absolutely.
So I'm Anthony Murray and my co-host
Ronetta Gardner. Thank you guys for joining.
Yep. And my guest, Mr. Sheldon Hill. We want to thank you once again for being with us. Folks, have a great day and a great time. Thank you for being with us again. We'll see you next time.
Make it a great day.
like this. I 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 like this.